Hi, this is DJ from Old Time Fabrics, and I'm going to be doing the 2-pass binding. My binding is 2.5 inches wide. It's folded in half and pressed down the center. You just sew all the ends together. I'm giving myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Just sew that on. You want to keep this snug, but don't pull tight. Just gently snug and go all the way down to the corner. Here we are approaching the corner again. Ease on down here. Again, you want to hold your binding snug, but don't tug on it. Okay, stopping a 1/2 inch, needle down, pivot, pinch, and pull. When I say pull, I mean we're pulling our binding to the left. And go again. Now remember how when we first started we left several inches of the binding unsewn. This is the reason why. Now there's our first end. I'm going to trim it a little bit better, a little shorter. My camera is right smack in the way of where I need to be able to reach. Okay, I've readjusted the camera a little bit, and as you see here, I have trimmed this one and this one to where they overlap. Our seam is going to be right here, so we want the overlap to be about twice what our seam allowance is going to be. So now I'm going to take it out of the machine and cut threads, and then we just open this up and open this up and sew the two ends together. This contraption I've got holding the phone here to make our video is so in the way that it's really hard to maneuver around it, but it's all I've got, and I'd really like to get this video out there so you guys can see how we do this. So here's our seam. Got a little crooked there. So now I'm cutting thread. And now I'm just going to go back in here and finish this seam. I'm going to tie in by overlapping about 1 inch to 1.5 inches here. And finish by tying in 1 inch to 1.5 inches again. And that completes step 1. Our binding is on all the way around. Okay, now my quilt is now face up. My binding is on all the way around, and I'm going to fold right on this seam. Can you see that? I'm folding right on the seam. I'm not leaving any of the binding on the back. You want to have matching thread for the back on your bobbin. See, we've got white thread on our bobbin, we've got red thread on our needle. And the red thread is to match the binding. So here we go again. I'm just going to close this, folding right on the seam. Close to a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and just close all the way around. Now we're approaching a corner, so I want to take this edge and I want to snip the corner off of that just enough to reduce the bulk of this, and continue on towards the corner. As you're approaching the corner, work any fullness out that you might have. Any stray threads, just poke up in there. Here we come down to the corner. See how it's just folding naturally. A little farther so you can see it better. There we go. Now when we get close, we want to just fold this directly up, and see how that right there makes just the perfect little 45-degree angle. Real gentle, walk on down there, and don't be afraid to hand walk the last few stitches. Now I'm stopping, needle down, with just on the very edge of this second piece here. Then raise your foot and pivot, sew out to the end, walk the last few stitches. Whatever you do, don't run off the end. It's too hard to get back on. Needle down, pivot, and come right back again. Stopping, right on the edge. Needle down, pivot again. Once again, fold right on the seam and take off again. Okay, we're down to the last corner. Just go real slow, right down to it. Make sure that goes nice and flat. It's not a good idea to use this binding method if you're going to put your quilt in the fair or anything, because some of our quilt snobs don't really approve of this type of binding. But I have to bind 20, maybe 30 quilts a month. So this is the best way that I can give the customers a free or cheap binding and be able to get any work done. Now, as I'm coming back down through here, making sure all my threads are poked up in there, and I'm getting ready to tie back in. This right here, well, you can't see it yet, so I'll get a little farther. Right there's where we started. Now I'm gonna pull my threads up and just sew right over that, tying right back in, an inch or 2 or 3, and our binding is complete. Here is the final result, what our corner looks like. You can see how we do the top stitch here. Makes a pretty neat little 45-degree angle. This is what it looks like on the back. I do apologize for the quality of my video. I know it's kind of shaky and everything, and our old machine is 70 years old, and it's got some creaks and noises that it makes, so please keep in mind I'm not a professional video maker, but I hope this helps you guys to bind quilts.